very similar in overall power compared to last week.
Yeah, and if you have more predictions and such for the draft, I think you need to hold it in just for the moment, Ender, because we are still at the start of pick and ban. They're going to get taken away from Milica. There's the Syndra ban, so no real surprises so far. I expect we'll still see Varus removed here by Vitality, and then maybe that Aphelios Ezreal trade we've been seeing through the last few weeks.
Yeah, so the interesting thing to me is that now that we expect Yuumi to fall off almost completely, that frees up one red side ban here for Vitality. So as you were saying, you could chuck in Aphelios in there as well. And while I think Ezreal is a champion that works very well on his own, traditionally we were actually seeing that paired a lot with the Yuumi. So I almost expect to see priority on that drop down just a little bit. But with a Kalista ban on top of an Aphelios ban, forget what I just said, it's got to be an Ezreal first pick for XL.
Yeah, Ezreal makes the most sense. And as you say, they've got so many AD carries removed already, but immediately Team Vitality are going to go for the Ashe Trundle combination.
Ooh. Interesting, seeing that Ashe come in like so readily for this team here. Of course, with so many ADCs banned off the board, it feels like Vitality were expecting something along these lines. They're saying, hey, we've got heavy engage already, because you have Ashe, of course, that can play super well off of a Trundle pillar. And Cabochard recently has been playing so many of these engage tanks in the top lane, the Milica, the Sion, these sorts of things, which means that Vitality, you know, if they continue to go down this route, are going to have a ton of different options to force fights.
So I hope that we will continue just to see that teamed up with these lower mobility AD carries.
Yeah, I also really like, of course, you see Thresh plus Ashe, and that seems like a really solid combination, both to help her get out, but also to engage. But what I really like is Thresh plus Trundle, because Trundle Pillar requires very little skill, let's say, to chuck that one on down there. And then not only does it create a slow zone, but it also, of course, puts up the barrier. So it makes it very easy to land skill shots like a Thresh hook alongside that pillar, and can set up for tower dives a little bit into the game as well, very, very easily. And also picks when you're controlling vision around the river. These are the types of things that I'm going to have my eye on for Vitality to look for in this game.
Well, Vitality are going to get rid of some of those safer supports in the Tahm Kench. Twisted Fate removed by XL, so they are trying to pinch Milica's pool just that little bit more. I wonder where the mid laner for Vitality will fall back to. He is a very strong player. I wonder actually if we'll see Kryze picked up by him, because he did play it a lot in the EU Masters, and it got slightly buffed on 10-13. I think it's just a very powerful pick right now.
Yeah, the thing is, I was sort of eyeing Kryze as a pick that could be, you know, quite strong for a little while now, and I think we saw it for the first time last week. The thing with Kryze is, of course, Kryze pumps out so much damage and works super well up against, you know, a lot of the frontline tanks we are seeing. Range is going to be a problem for him, and I think when you see an Ezreal over for XL, as well as an Orianna that can opt into stuff like the Hextech GLP very easily, Kryze falls off a little bit in priority. I would rather look towards something like the Corki that Milica picked up twice last weekend as something that can try to match and even, you know, outrange some of the options that XL are going to be throwing their way.
Great prediction there, Ender. Corki will be the lock-in for Vitality, and now XL have a couple of options. You've got support, definitely, but then are you looking at jungle? Are you looking at top lane? Because that Volibear is still just that a little bit flexible. I have heard rumors of Volibear support. I'm not going to entertain it until we actually see it on the Rift. But Rakan is a champion that Torre played very well last week, and he had very minor buffs on 10-13. Torre's deciding those buffs aren't enough, and he'll go for the Braum instead.
Yeah, not loving the 20 damage there. He's gonna
I saw Rakan buffs and I was so excited, Ender. I was so like, oh yes, Rakan back in the meta. He's going to be great. It's like, nah, give you some more damage, because that's what Rakan needs. Anyway.
Indeed. Now, is it going to be a Kayle top lane for Kryze? Are we seeing more AP champions? That's what I want to know. I don't think so. I think there's too much magic damage on this team already with the Volibear, the Orianna, and an Ezreal, which does some magic. So GP slots in nicely here. Also gives XL some form of, you know, ranged engage, because well, you say like, oh, you have the Orianna ball, like that kind of works. Volibear can run at people. Those aren't the most reliable of tools to start off a fight, and I think the Gangplank ultimate from downtown is going to do quite nicely to help out XL in the mid game, where finding their fights might be a little bit more difficult because they went for a more disengaged style support in the Braum as opposed to what Labrov is running, the Thresh, which is all about finding those fights.
Yeah, Exile's comp feels like a comp that if they get engaged on is very good at disengaging the fight. But as you say, they don't have that pure initiation themselves. What they could use is a Gangplank ultimate to zone out fights alongside the Shockwave. You actually have really good zone control in a team fight, but finding that initial pick is going to be difficult. Cabochard going back to the Sion in the top lane. We've seen him have some really good Sion games, and then we've seen him faceplant into a wall a few times, but it does give you that initiation potential that Vitality need alongside the Ashe arrow, which is their tool to get picks later on in the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to get in a taxi with Cabochard behind the wheel, because it's sort of like flipping a coin, like whether it's going to like actually hit people or a wall, and either way, that's a bad thing.
Yep.
So I realized as
we're playing Crazy Taxi, but we're going to see which of Exile and Vitality are crazy enough to pick up the win today. And onto Summoner's Rift we go. And it's so great to be back on the Rift, although of course in slightly less than ideal circumstances, you know, both of us at home. But I'm wondering where you want to focus on, what you want to concentrate on early on in this game.
Ooh, that's a fun little question, because I'm looking across and I'm like, doesn't seem like this early game is going to be the most explosive that we've seen here in the LEC. You know, Volibear and Trundle both very strong early fighters, but I feel like in a lot of ways they almost nullify each other a bit. I think when we, you know, set our expectations for this game, like you look at it, it's two team fight comps. You got a lot of scaling options, especially in the solo lanes for these two teams. So if anything, I think, you know, foot off the gas a little bit early on, but if a team wanted to make plays, I think Vitality has the ability to do that. Trundle Pillar comboed, you know, with the Sion up top lane can make some moves, and of course, as we were saying earlier, Pillar plus Thresh hook down bot lane could be very, very spicy as well.
Vitality are going to help out NG here on his blue buff. Now, can be in one of two things. Either he's just going to go for a clear and then look up towards the top side around that 3.5 minute mark, or it could be a level 2 gank in the bottom lane ender. That's what as a support, that's what I like the most, but I doubt it's going to happen, right? Especially since you have Patrik, who has Arcane Shift to get away, Torre, who's got the cleanse, and NG actually isn't even going to clear his entire bottom side. He's going straight up towards red buff.
This is substandard on the Trundle, because usually Trundle you're going to stick to like blue buff, Grump, then red buff. He's pinging that he wants to go over to his Krugs, which do give him more overall experience for 3 camps than just doing the Grump. And even leading with Krugs here it actually just tells me immediately that NG is probably going for a harder farming route, where he can actually set up the Krugs to respawn a little bit faster into his clear and then go down to red buff, down towards his bottom side as well. Now, he should have information from Milica's calling it out that Special went ahead and dropped a ward on his Raptor camp. So it'll actually be very telling for NG, depending on whether or not he shows on Raptors what his early game plan is. If he shows on Raptors, then he's telegraphing 100% like, hey guys, I'm just full clearing my jungle, so you don't have to worry about a gank. But if he doesn't, then he actually has a longer duration on this red buff because he waited until clearing the Krug camp first before picking that one up.
So he has passed by the Raptors. I didn't see a ping. He might have just been out of vision, but that path seemed very close to where the ward is to me.
Yeah, so I'm actually almost positive. I'm looking at it on a separate monitor here. There is some darkness there that NG was able to pass through, so should not have been spotted out by a ward. And now that makes his clear a little bit unexpected, although now that he has popped a blast cone on towards the bottom river, Excel will know exactly what he's up to, and Caedrel should be able to trade him.
Squire's blip, right? You use that because
you know, it blasts some Scryer all over.
It blasts vision in the AoE in front of it. It's like, here, have some vision. Through an explosion of light and sound. Caedrel didn't know he was there. He's going to come up towards this top side. Cabochard looking to get the ward in the bush. The Thundering Smash is available. The stun comes out. Cabo's going to flash underneath this turret and manages to survive, but does have to burn that summoner. And Caedrel will find there are no Krugs here, but he can force Cabochard away. Does still have his flash. There we are, looking for the flash damage here. The channel comes out, but he's stunned out of it. And Caedrel will get first blood.
Okay. So remember when people wonder like, hey, is Volibear actually good in the jungle? And the man just runs down Cabochard at level 4, kills him. That's a solo kill, by the way. Cabochard literally just trying to run away from his turret will be denied a whole lot of minions up there as well. Cannot be thrilled with how that exchange went. Although, you know, again, a little cherry on top is that I suppose Gangplank didn't get an assist, so it's not the end of the world for Cabochard's lane himself. Now, while that solo kill was going on in the top lane, there was actually another interesting trade down bot side, so a lot of potions have been spent in this lane, and I'd love to see a visit there, but NG will be going towards mid.
Let's try and catch out Special. There's the pillar for the slow. Special does still have his flash. Will look to get to the wall, and because NG doesn't know where Caedrel is, he has to back away. The trade continues in the bottom lane. Labrov has been pinged with the Winter's Bite. There's the stun from the concussive blows. Cleanse comes out from Torre, but they're turning it back onto Patrik. The Igniter's down here on Torre as he will limp back underneath this turret. Heal has to get used as well.
Wow, so lots of stuff going down there. That's what I'm saying. Like, if NG was down there, there very likely could have been some kills without vision, without potions, and now with so many of these summoners down, it's literally just flashes for these 4 players. So I'd love to see something happen with it. Now, of course, Vitality do have a Sion in the game who just ticked over to level 5, so level 6 should be coming in the next couple minutes here, and without a teleport, I'm going to be looking for him, again, to make that drive on down into the bot lane. It's the most telegraphed play ever if you are Cabochard, but it seems to work more often than it doesn't for Vitality.
But especially if you have a level 6 on the Ashe, or you have a good hook coming out from Labrov, you can catch someone out and then just charge into them with the pain train. However, what I have noticed from Vitality is they tend to do it around Rift Herald swap timing. So they'll bring Cabochard down towards the bottom lane, they'll get the fight, and then they'll send their bot lane up towards top to play around that Rift Herald. We'll see if they do it. Usually it's around 7.5 minutes or so. So they still have about 2 minutes before they enact that play. For the moment, though, XL has a slight gold lead, you know, about 600 gold ahead or so.
It's almost like Caedrel got a solo kill first blood.
It definitely helps. Definitely helps.
Yeah, that's sort of what happened. And actually, so Vitality should know Caedrel's down in this bottom side jungle. Cabochard walked in, hit the Scryer's Bloom, put down some vision in the top side jungle. So it will be Excel with control for the time being. Labrov didn't want to actually team up with NG and, you know, cut into the river first. I think they're a little bit concerned about Volibear's just raw dueling strength early on. So as you can see, it is full river control at the moment for Excel. And unless Milica is able to move down here,
He's going to try and get hooked down. Labrov catches out Torre. Torre does have the heal. Going to use it early on for movement speed. Labrov with the lantern to get comp out of there. Kind of barrage coming out as well, but Exala standing in it. Vitality able to shepherd themselves back into the jungle. Looks like they should escape for now. Caedrel still on the chase to try and get onto NG. There's the Winter's Bite for the slow, but a good hook will stop the Thundering Smash. Caedrel will have that back off cooldown. Of course, if you're CC'd during Thundering Smash, you get it back straight away. And look to just steal away the blue.
Will they be able to, though? Because there's no smite on Caedrel, so it goes over to Milica somehow, as Caedrel was trying to combo that down with Special, but was left with just, you know, a couple HP. Milica was able to swoop on in there and steal away the buff. So, hey, mission accomplished here if you are Vitality, although it is worth pointing out that Labrov did end up burning his flash in that exchange. So it was Vitality that started off going in on that play, but they end up losing on the backside, so they're going to make this rotation up into the top lane. Kryze also had access to the ult, which he chucked into the bot lane, which helped turn that fight in their favor. So Cabochard not going to be able to use the ult offensively, but as you're saying, he is down in this bottom lane right around the time the Rift Herald is going to be spawning, and Vitality are first on the
I feel like I deserve some praise for predicting it, but it's the most telegraphed play in the history of League of Legends. So
yay,
it's like in the olden days, if you predicted a 2v1 lane swap, it's like, guys, I think they might do the thing that teams do every single game. It's like, yes, good job, Medic. Excellent.
No, the best part about the old lane swap is that teams would just, like, they would mind game themselves because they wouldn't always invade the enemy jungle to put vision down, but they would just be like, this is a good game for us to lane swap. Should we not lane swap? Because
they're going to expect us to lane swap.
Are they thinking
that? Do they know that we know that they know that we know that they know that we might know that we're going to lane swap? It's truly the 5 head of thinking right there. That's why we need...
No, because it just came down to flipping a coin at the end of it.
Hey, it's worked for Fnatic for the last few seasons. Anyway, XL have moved their bot lane up towards top side as well. Level 6 hit here for Patrik. He's got a Sheen and a Tear stacking up. Blade of the Ruin King on its way for comp here. We didn't talk a huge amount about Ashe itemization. The expectation is that you go Blade of the Ruin King into Runeans for all of the extra kite ability and damage in the team fights. I have seen some mixes. I've seen some Ashes go Essence Reaver. I don't like it too much myself. I've seen some go for an early Infinity Edge, which also I think the power of Ashe is her ability to control team fights, and although Infinity Edge gives you some more damage, having the extra attack speed really works well on her.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I was sort of looking at it, the idea is Essence Reaver, when you're going to be like the primary engage source, you're going to need that extra CDR. Blade of the Ruin King otherwise. Blade also going to be very effective at kiting out a Volibear because his Q resets on hard CC. It doesn't reset off of slows, but we are about to see a potential fight break out. Milica does have access to the package. Ashe Arrow is going to be available.
And I think XL will realize they can't really fight this one. Milica actually probably takes him a little bit further than he wanted to go here, just across the wall. Caedrel coming in, but he's stunned straight away with that Ashe Arrow. He's going to get pillared up as he jumps away with the Stormbringer. Vitality secure the Herald, and here comes... Well... It's that was an English train because it didn't really arrive where it was meant to, nor was it on time. No one's buying tickets
this time. It didn't crash. It just stopped. It just stopped, and that's a success here for young Cabochard. Looks like there were a couple plates traded in the bot side for Kryze as well. I'm actually going to quickly check the overall gold between there. So right now, Kryze has a 700 gold lead over Cabochard in the top lane. He was just, you know, sitting down bot side, picking up those turret plates. So that's where a lot of the advantage is going to be coming from for XL, is top lane with the CS, or really the turret plates, and jungle with that early kill.
Sorry, I was looking at my Discord because we're getting messages in the middle of the game as well, so I apologize for not picking up that ender. I'm also going to apologize because I've done this previously where I've apologized for something that the audience can't see, and you were like, Medic, you shouldn't do that as much. So I'm apologizing for that.
You don't have to.
That's happened.
They don't have to know. They don't have to know.
If we can't hold it in, then Twitch chat deserves to know why something's happened, okay?
Look, I'm holding it in. I'm sort of an expert when it comes to that.
You have a lot of experience. NG is going to start up the first dragon of the game. It's Cloud for them. He does still have the Rift Herald in his back pocket as well, I believe. Later on today, we'll see Pinoy return to the stage as they face off, G2 face off against Misfits. And now, with the Cloud Drake in their pockets, Vitality in a pretty strong position. They're 1,000 gold behind, as you said, because of those plates, because just that little bit extra gold has been funneled onto XL, but Vitality will be very happy with how the game is playing out so far.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be fine with this one, because, again, we look at the overall, you know, like forecast, I guess, for this game, and it's gonna come down to big fights around 3rd, 4th dragons, around, you know, a potential Baron buff later on as well, outside of potential split push options through Milica, because I think you look at the solo lane champions in this game, and none of them are really good at going a side lane, winning their matchups, and then also bashing down turrets, except for that Corki. So if we're looking at different ways to put pressure points on the map, that option is going to be available towards Vitality and Milica in particular. So for them, they want to be able to get as much gold into him, make sure he can win his respective matchups into both Special and Kryze, and that's going to be a big deal for Vitality.
Yeah, it really is. NG's going to come up towards the top lane here. It looks like they're going to get that Rift Herald down, get some more gold in Comp's back pocket. At least that is my assumption. There it goes. And Comp will try and be fun with these plates, but the issue is that XL are reacting well to this. Caedrel is just across the wall here, does have the Stormbringer, can get into this fight. Blast Cone is available to him as well, but the Rift Herald only gets a charge in, takes away a couple of plates, but that's not what Vitality would have wanted out of this.
Right, and this is where you see a little bit of the... I mean, Vitality, of course, gets some plates here, and Excel we're thinking, oh, can we force a fight? And we see, oh, wait, we actually just don't have the engage option, so Vitality really have to overstep if we're going to be able to get our Volibear on in there. And hey, that overstep might be coming because Caedrel has
Labrov's in a really good position here. This is what you want to do as Thresh, right? He's hugging close enough that he's in XP range, but far enough away that if anyone comes through the tri-bush, he can just chuck out that lantern and get people to safety. It's really good Thresh play. It's not always that celebrated because everyone's looking for the mad life. But if you're in your solo queue games and you're like, we're playing weak side of the map, the jungler might be here, do that as Thresh. Your AD carries will love you.
And that's the big thing, right? Is it's not always playing back. It's not even the mechanics of Thresh, it's the mindset of knowing, hey, when should I actually be stepping forward to look for the hooks? When should I be playing back? And because they had the suspicion with the ward, they knew Caedrel was around that top side of the map. Labrov completely changed his play pattern because for a lot of the laning phase, he has been playing a little bit more aggressively here. So I really like seeing that from him.
So do I. I think he's had a pretty good split so far, and we'll see if he can continue it at the rest of it. 2 minutes left on this Dragon. It hasn't been slow ender, but it hasn't been as bloodlusty as I like. Yeah, but so slow always has this connotation that teams aren't doing anything, right? They're just accepting the status quo in the game. They're like, cool, this is fine, whatever, we'll farm. Both teams have tried to do things from time to time. They've just been stymied in their ability to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah, you know, they've been farming, they've been soloing objectives. Sometimes they walk into the river with like 8 people and they're like, huh, what are you up to over there? Oh, Rift Herald? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, we'll get the next one. You know, it's all yours for now. So yeah, you know, it hasn't been slow, but it's been, I don't know, an honorable matchup. They haven't really, you know, gotten to any turf disputes.
It's a gentleman's agreement, like we used to have in the good old days of top lane, where it was just two, I almost called them dog champs there, and I did, because I was saying that. 2 dog champs just hitting each other in the face, not really doing too much damage with their wet noodles, but Caedrel is trying to rectify the 1-0 score line, as Labrov's actually going to check into him. Good control ward there, making sure that he didn't get spotted early on. Comp getting it locked down here. The flash lands and won't be there in time. TP comes in as Vitality want a little bit more of this action. It's Cabochard and Milica, and they're trying to catch up Patrik. Patrik played back, Ignite, and he's stuck in the box. The shockwave comes out with a good hook from Labrov. Will catch out Torre as well. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade in the top lane.
Yeah, both ADCs losing everything right there, too. So Patrik just trying to get in there, finish off the kill, ends up getting traded back. So finally, we've got action on the Rift. It does just result in 2 kills, and now that there's no ADC up in the top side for Excel, they won't even be able to continue the siege on the turret. I'm also pretty sure, looking at that play again, that Caedrel's ultimate didn't turn the tower off, and I didn't know if he was like just out of range
yeah, maybe.
To make that one happen, because he looked like he was real close to that thing. Now, to be fair, it was just hitting minions, so it didn't really make that much of a difference, but that's the one thing I'm looking out for on that volley ult is does it actually help out in those turret dive situations, and right there, didn't seem like it did.
Does give you a bunch of extra health as well, and attack range, and it gives you Ghost, or the ability to move through units, so there are other bonuses out of it than just destroying a turret. It's not just on Wrecker Mark II sitting on Caedrel, but as you say, wasn't used to its full effect. Caedrel, though, will use his smite to secure the Rift Herald, and XL can use that to get that top lane turret down, get some more gold into Patrik's pockets. He has already finished his Manamune. He's on his way to his Sheen. Going to be in a really good position. They don't even actually need the Rift Herald here, because, of course, turrets take a huge amount more damage after plates fall. And Patrik will chunk that one away. It's going to be a 2,500 gold lead for, well, 2,300 gold lead for XL right now, and a pretty commanding position this game.
So here's the thing is, like, yes, the gold definitely in Excel's favor. They've got themselves the Rift Herald too, so like in theory they're going to be able to use that to break a mid lane turret, and bot lane is very low too. So Excel definitely in control of itemization and gold and whatnot. Vitality, however, because of the way the map was sort of split, where Excel put a lot of resources into the Herald and knocking down that top lane turret, Vitality were set up to get themselves the Drake. So this being their second Drake of the game, and now on an Infernal Rift, Vitality are the ones in a closer position to finding themselves an Infernal Soul. So the question for them now is, would they be actually on even enough footing to fight for that third Drake? Because right now it doesn't necessarily feel like it, you know, as Milica's still waiting to finish off that Trinity Force, and items looking very good for it.
Cabo's just been locked up here. The shockwave comes out as well. He tried to go the greedy way towards the turret, and he pays for it with his life. That tower's going to fall as well as Patrik jumps forward. One more auto is enough. And yeah, that was not the best positioning from Cabochard. The train crashed before it could get to the station. And now we'll see XL gain complete control of this bottom side, get their third turret of the game. Kryze is actually miles ahead in gold over Cabo as well, just because of Gangplank's passive and the fact that he has been given some free plates while that Sion is away.
Yeah, also Kryze hasn't been walking into mid lane randomly.
Yeah, exactly. Kryze has only influenced the game with his cannon barrage. Minions hate him.
And he did it like
Minions
one time.
hate Kryze, but everyone else in the game is like,
So
cool,
true.
yeah, let him do his thing.
Oh man, yeah, you know, Cabochard just trying to make sure it stays interesting for us. Now, to actually, you know, get into this game, because Vitality are falling, you know, a little bit more and more behind with each push here, the nature of their comp does put them in a weaker position overall, because the way they're looking to play the game is through dominating vision, and because Excel have this advantage and can seemingly walk into the majority of their lanes and get control whenever they show up in their respective one-on-one, you know, 2v2 matchups, that means Excel are the ones getting control over the river. river. They're the ones getting vision inside of Vitality's jungle. So normally where you'd say Vitality, oh, and when you're behind, you want to, put a lot of, effort into finding a pick, using that Ashe arrow effectively, locking people down and getting, single kills here and there. Well, now that there's vision all throughout their jungle and they haven't been able to control that super well, and also the fact that it's Infernal Rift and there's less brush to hide behind, less walls to hide behind, like, this is just going to become increasingly more and more difficult for Vitality.
At the moment, they're trying to get control of the bottom side of the map, currently sitting at 3 and 4 in the standings, actually tied with Fnatic in 7th place. A win would really bolster Vitality's chances. They would move up the scoreboard because, of course, the LEC is so close this split so far. And I think a lot of people would have been surprised by Vitality being this close to, the likes of Fnatic, G2, Origin, Misfits, but they've really had a pretty strong display so far this split, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they can improve. Excel, on the other hand, have started off pretty poorly. I think they've said it themselves, especially since this was meant to be the split they make playoffs, the split they run to Worlds, but they're still only 2 wins behind 3rd place. A couple of good performances could put them well in the running for playoffs.
But a game like this is one you absolutely have to win if you want to be considered in that conversation, because right now it's all well and good to be down, 1 or 2 games from that playoffs position, but in week 5 we're going to be going into the second half of the split. So and all of a sudden that gap where it was just 2 games in week 4, when you get to week 7, week 8, that's if you're on the same trajectory, going to expand and put yourself very out of reach. So playing against these teams very close to you in the standings is going to mean a ton. Now I really quickly want to touch on something that just happened in the top lane, because there was this siege going down. It was really strange because Comp was trying to set up a bit of a freeze up towards that top side of the map, but Excel were walking inside the jungle, maybe thinking about going for the tower dive, but there was like the series of mind games because then Labrov was hiding behind the tower ready to like drop down a lantern, and all this stuff was going on. Now no kills happened, but I just want to let you know there are things happening in this game even if kills aren't going down. I do like how Labrov is positioning to help out his ADCs.
This is what I was trying to build up earlier, and the idea that things can be happening on the Rift without kills. And as a play-by-play, it kind of goes against my better nature to say that. But both the teams are just setting up for this next play. Infernal up in 48 seconds. That bot side river is totally in control of Vitality. They have a deep ward sitting over towards the red. They've got some wards just around the mid lane here as well. And because they have the push in the lane, they can then come down towards this river and try and get vision control. What are we sitting on in terms of control wards? It's a couple in the inventory of NG, a couple for Labrov as well. So they should be able to deny any XL vision here for a while.
But here's the thing, even more important than wards are the items we're sitting on. And Milica feels great. He finished off his Trinity Force, he's got the stacked Mirror Mana, but then you look at what Excel have, and you have, the Stone Plate in the bot lane, Righteous Glory in the jungle, 2 items everywhere else. It's Excel's fight to win.
It is, and they're going to jump in straight away as they look for the fight. Labrov so low. Special going to get packaged, though, and Milica snipes him off in the backline. Patrik trying to do what he can here. As he jumps onto Comp, he gets him! Patrik with the aggressive plays. Labrov has to flash away, and now NG's running for the wins, trying to get back into his jungle where he was safe before, but Caedrel, the 1,000-pierced bear, will chase him down. Kryze takes the kill, and that fight was all on Patrik.
Yeah, Patrik going super aggressive in the backline, was just one more auto attack away from knocking down the Thresh as well. So Excel win that fight, even with a late teleport coming through from Kryze, all off the back of Patrik's excellent Ezreal play.
Just great stuff from him. Like, he was in the backline of the enemy team and kind of left alone for a little while here.
Yeah, I mean, he ignored a lot of the players around him during that one, so as we can see in this fight coming through. The start of this one has Cabochard coming around that bottom side of the river, of course. At the same time, Special locks up both Comp and Labrov, where Patrik then dodges away from the arrow, puts the damage down onto Labrov, but then the fight gets awkward because, of course, Corki gets out of there with the package, Labrov uses the stopwatch, and then Patrik sees his moment, flash dashing on in there to finish off that kill onto the Ashe, and then is able to kite around that Sion, because one thing about Vitality's comp is once the initial CC spells are used, the reliable CC is not going to be there. So all Patrik has to do is wait for the Ashe arrow to be blown, wait for Labrov to throw out his hook, and then he can do those aggressive arcane shifts.
And you can see he's now got a 1,400 gold lead over Comp. There's a 2,000 gold difference in top lane as Kryze is continuing just to farm up on this Gangplank. Did pick up a kill in that last fight, so he is finally on the scoreboard, and it's a really strong game so far from XL. They have slowly been improving over the last few weeks. Their game against Misfits perhaps a little bit of an aberration as they just kind of got dismantled in that one. But as we've said earlier, wins against teams like Vitality is what could put XL on the road to playoffs once again.
And the big thing for them is that they have been able to slow down Vitality's progression towards an Infernal Soul by picking up that big team fight win in mid lane to set themselves up for the Drake now. And with Baron on the Rift, they can walk straight up into this topside jungle for Vitality and start to push these waves back in towards the tower. You can see whenever Excel want to make these intrusions in towards Vitality territory, Kryze is no longer going to be in the bot lane. So he was called up towards mid lane so he can fully push out that wave, support the rest of his team, and now actually not even running into that bottom lane. They might just want to start up the Baron right now. That's exactly what they're telling me. But this crucial ward from, Vitality spots Torre walking down in towards the river. Vitality have to know
Cabo has TP. He needs to join this fight soon. That Baron's going to be ticking down really quickly here. We'll see as Cabochard starts to join the fight. Torre tanking on the front line, puts up the Unbreakable, is able to survive as he jumps out. And the Baron is secured by XL. And Vitality just couldn't find the engage they were looking for.
It's a really nice call there from Excel. Again, forgetting about that bottom lane to set up the vision and then set up that Baron play. And Vitality weren't aware of that because their read of the situation was, hey, Kryze picks up the mid wave, then walk back down bot lane. Kryze, that was the first time this entire game he has grouped with his team because he's always been farming in a side lane. But he'd finished off the Death Stance, I believe, before that play, was feeling very confident, making that move towards the Baron. And now Excel are in full control and have total ability to try and knock down this Vitality base.
Excel in a really strong position. Credit as well to Torre acting as a bodyguard there, eating up the arrow, making sure he was in the way, popping the gargoyles so he couldn't get taken down too quickly. Made it very hard for Vitality to find that engage they were looking for, and that's why Braum is such a strong pick into the Ashe as well, because of that Unbreakable, the ability just to eat up the ult pretty easily. And now it looks like it's going to be 1-3-1 for the moment from XL. They're putting Special down in the side lane. He does have teleport, but it's going to take a little while for them to gain control over this blue buff area, and that as soon as they do, we'll see Special stepping a little bit further forward.
Yeah, so I think Excel, as soon as they want to start hitting turrets, they're going to break out the 1-3-1 and probably look to, split into a 1-4. Now, Kryze doesn't have teleport for another, 45 or so seconds on this Gangplank, so they do have to be cautious for the time being. Again, a lot of great engage tools for Vitality, but because Kryze has already worked that minion wave so far towards that top lane inner tower, you can see Vitality don't want to force any sort of fight. They know the odds are stacked against them in terms of itemization, apart from Milica, so they will just go ahead and try to save this turret, but I don't even know if Cabochard's able to. Kryze just walks up and almost knocks that sucker down.
He's got the Demolish as well, helping out a huge amount, taking those turrets. Mid tier 2 is under siege as well as Caedrel steps just around the corner.
Ouch.
Patrik takes a lot of damage as he is forced away, but the tower falls in the top lane. Bot lane is the target here for Special. Has to flash away from the hook, he just about survives. Comp used the arrow there as well.
And this is why I don't love that Excel are trying to play all three lanes at the moment, because they're opening up engage options towards Vitality. Here they go.
Stormbringer coming in. I'm not sure the turret was caught once again. NG underneath the tower will get taken out. The tower then falls. Torre puts up the Unbreakable once again. A Special comes in with the ball just to shield him up a little bit more. And that is all three tier 2s are broken. A 7,000 gold lead for XL. And Kryze continues just to push in towers by himself, pulling all of Vitality over. But there's the third.
It was all a ruse. It was all a ruse for Excel, baiting Vitality into that false sense of security. Vitality like, oh yeah, we just got the flash off Orianna. That's a win. But all of a sudden, with that jungle control, Caedrel's able to jump on over the wall and get a pick for Vitality. So at the end of the day, this Baron is going to net all three inner towers for Excel, which I think is a great use of that first Baron. They find themselves an Infernal Drake on top of that. Probably going to be looking to continue to deny all these jungle camps away from NG and the rest of Vitality, and then set up for the next Baron in 3 minutes that, if secured, will be the game ender for XL.
It's the second time we've seen a Stormbringer not quite take down the turret, but Caedrel's still able to kill off NG before they can really do anything. Milica now will just look to try and take his tower in the top lane. That's 3 turrets for Vitality, so they are, they're trying to find these small advantages where they can, but we've seen that XL is so good at holding them at arm's length in a fight, and Patrik is having and Torre having really strong performances at dodging out the arrow, making sure they're not caught, that it begins to look more and more like Vitality needs a perfect storm of a team fight to get back into this game.
Yeah, and they need to figure out some way to, keep Milica alive through it and in a position to keep dumping out the damage, because that's where the struggle is going to be, because they put so much in towards Milica. You look at Milica and he's walking, top lane, mid lane, farming, going through the jungle, taking Krugs, all this stuff. And if we flip over to the gold, you'll see that he actually has a gold lead over Special in towards mid, which is a big deal, but not quite enough to overtake Kryze. Now we've got to play in the bot lane.
You can see Cabochard and NG trying to fight this one. The subjugate comes down. Milica, I could have taken package and been here a little bit earlier, but I think they're still going to be able to chase down Kryze pretty easily here.
Yeah, but they're going to lose an inhibitor for this. Maybe even two. It's taking them forever. Look at the man just running away. Look at the move speed. It's too nuts. He can even ult and flash.
Look at the move speed. Look at the plays. Kryze is touching everything. He flashes. He gets the oranges. And Milica doesn't have the package. The cannon barrage going to slow him down. Oh, Kryze. Oh. Get your Pepe laughs out in chat, because this is an oh no moment here for Vitality. They lose mid inhib. They're going to lose top inhib. They lose the fight in a 4v1 situation. And now they're trying to force something in mid. Kryze got out. Like, Kryze just walked back to his team. And the only one crying right now is Vitality as they look at their destroyed base. Now the package is picked up and Milica's having none of this. He's like, he's going to TP out. He's going to TP out. He's going to flash lantern the pillar. So Special was trying to pick up some moves there from Kryze, but couldn't do it himself. Vitality invested an arrow, a flash, a teleport, a package, and everything under the kitchen sink to get one kill from XL.
Vitality exacted their revenge, like waving their hands, Kryze, damn you, we're gonna take down Special instead. They throw everything in towards that one. Hey, credit where credit's due. They fixed their problems. They decided they needed a couple teleports and a package this time around, so they got themselves the kill, but Special will go ahead and respawn right about the same time that this Baron goes down, and that's where Vitality are gonna have to figure out some sort of miracle, because again, if this Baron goes down, the base has already been blasted wide open against Vitality, and XL are going to be able to waltz on in there with that buff.
It's just going to be so difficult for Vitality. Patrik sitting at 3 items and a QSS just to make it even more difficult to catch him. Leandri's finished on Special. He's got a Rabadons as well. And now we see Vitality trying to do something.
Did just finish Infinity Edge.
Who did Milica?
So was it?
Oh, Comp. So he is pretty strong.
Was able to get that on the base.
He is pretty strong if he's able just to sit in one of these fights. Milica has 3 items as well with the rapid fire cannon and the Mana Mune all the way stacked up. So Vitality have power in this composition. If they can survive, or if they can find an initial pick, they can win these fights. And I mean, that arrow is... You're not Robin Hood, Comp. That's all I'm going to say about that one. That's all I'm going to say about that one. He's trying to rob from the rich at the moment, though, because XL have a 7,000 gold lead.
Little does he know that Milica actually has the most gold, other than, I think, other than Kryze in this game.
Patrik flashed for that. Okay, so yeah, this is where we see the fact that these two teams are not in playoffs right now. However, they've got the rest of the split to try and work towards it, and XL have shown us some good things.
Well, quickly, I've got another for you, because the pit has not been swept out. XL are sitting on a ward inside of this pit, and NG has the flash to try and get in.
Milica doesn't have the package to Shockwave, only hits onto Labrov. It's not really the target you're looking for. Comp will heal up. His arrow is still a third of the way off cooldown. Cabo's clearing out a wave in the bottom lane as he has the teleport to join this fight if he needs. But XL realize they've taken too much damage. They're going to try and get mid-prio, push in this super minion wave, and then look towards the Infernal Dragon.
All right, so let's remember, first Baron of the game, what did XL do? They forgot about bot lane. They had, 3 people around top river, and Kryze, was pushing down through mid lane. So that's sort of the same setup they need to go for again. Now, I think they're going to have Kryze solo out this Infernal Drake, so things going to slow down for just a moment here as he picks that one up. And then, with the wave building up bot lane, he probably has to go down there, so about 45 to 60 seconds away from some sort of a play coming through, assuming that he does visit that bottom lane for the wave. And with 3 members of XL recalling, this should be the play for them. Kryze goes bot lane, pushes that one out, runs in towards mid lane to pick that one
Vitality just started. Vitality just started.
Wait a second.
Here we go. Come on, Vitality. They're doing something proactive, and I love it. They haven't cleared the control ward in the bush. Now Cabochard will spot it out, but that Baron already down to 5,000. There's no jungler here. There's no Caedrel here. Vitality get the Baron, and they get the hook as well. They don't want to fight this, though. They just want to get out with as many Baron buffs as they can. Cabochard face planted once again with his unstoppable onslaught there, but he might just be sacrificed. It looks like Vitality might take the fight though. Torre oversteps, he goes down. The shockwave! Oh, special! That was a sombrero! And I think we are starting to see some cracks. Some mistakes.
Kryze is in
he got a tower, so what ender? He got a tower. Like, XL just gave up a Baron, gave up a kill, shockwaved thin air, and they get one tower out of it. Like, they're 7,000 gold up. They should be winning this game convincingly.
No doubt, Medic. They absolutely should be. And here's where a little bit of like recall theory comes into the game, because there's two schools of thought. One is you all synchronize your recalls, and that means you're off the map for 30 seconds, but in 30 seconds you can make a play immediately because you all have your items, you all have your wards, you're all ready to go. The other is you can stagger your recalls. Now right there, they sync their recalls. Vitality were aware of that fact and instantly pulled the trigger, and that is how they get punished. If they stagger those recalls, yeah, they can't immediately make a play necessarily, but they do not give Vitality the opportunity to just waltz into the river and steal that Baron away, because Kryze showed him volleying, because he was just on the Drake. Vitality actually saw this coming, 30 seconds in advance, and were able to set that one up and really catch XL with their pants down.
Well, you've got to give Vitality credit for making the proactive play. It's very easy to sit back and try and defend in these sorts of situations, but they do a good job, and now it's only a 5,000 gold lead between the two teams. 3 minutes on the fourth infernal dragon of the game. Vitality will want to stop. Yes, it does. Want to stop XL getting that. Right now, they're shepherding in a lane down towards this bottom lane. Now, they don't have any inhibitor towers left. They have none.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm actually really worried for XL here, because Vitality have such good engage. Just seeing Kryze top lane with Baron buff means that theoretically, Vitality could just pull the
especially when everyone's in a narrow corridor,
one fight and end the game, right?
Because like, if you arrow down a lane like that where everyone's kind of in the same place, the likelihood is that not everyone dodges it, right? Maybe Torre eats it up and cleanses, because he's running a cleanse with the unsealed spellbook, but that's the perfect opportunity to engage. Obviously, Vitality decide not to.
Every corridor can be a tight corridor when you throw up a Trundle pillar as well. And that's what I really want to hammer home here, because the combo's so nicely here. Is Caedrel going to try and turn this one around for a moment.
That's a lot of damage onto Caedrel. Torre going to stand in front of the bear, try and keep him alive for the moment. The Hawk shot will give a little bit of vision for the Ashe, and now Vitality just looking for another one of these tier 2 towers. They are chipping away at this gold lead pretty effectively, and XL, well, currently they're just trying to wait out this Baron buff. It's still got about a minute left, and they really can't do anything about Vitality constantly pushing in.
Yeah, and remember, XL don't have the best engage options with their team. A little bit unreliable, especially when flashes are going to be up. It's much more difficult for XL to be able to pull the triggers. So they're just going to try and soak up, as much pressure during the remaining seconds of this Baron buff. Again, XL going to want to set themselves up around this Infernal Soul with spawning in 2.5 minutes. If they can be the ones to set themselves up in the river with vision control, that's when they are going to have the advantage playing field. Otherwise, it may look a little bit more difficult, especially as we move on now, because Milica has 4 items. Cabochard has a Mortal Reminder.
Shout out to the boss. Shout out to the boss. We shilling, lads.
Wow.
Mortal Reminder, Titanic Hydra. That's the build I like to see.
Sure. I mean, I guess there's healing on XL, and theory is he's hitting frontline tanks, which have a lot of armor, so I can stand behind that for the time being. I'll be honest, I haven't really run the math on Sions.
But I believe this is the build the boss goes most of the time, and I trust him. Like, rank 1 Sion player in Europe, so very, very good player. However, XL have gained vision control around the Dragon. 30 seconds on it, package available on Milica. You can tell from his movement speed how quickly he's getting down that bottom lane, and now they push in. NG's going to be the one to face check. Torre doesn't hit the Winter's Bite. Decimating smash from across the wall is not going to do too much, but NG actually takes a lot of damage here as Patrik jumps forward, shielded up by the Orianna. Teleport coming in from Kryze as well. XL want this fight.
Okay, so Kryze wants to be here at the start of the fight, which I do like. Here comes the arrow from Comp, but it gets immediately cleansed.
Caedrel.
Torre sitting on that one.
Not in a good position. He's going to jump in, but he might already be dead. Milica can't quite get the auto off now, and Torre's going to step forward. Patrik doing a lot of work. He's dodging around as much as he can, but that was a lot of damage on Caedrel. He's going to have to get back to base, and here comes the train of pain, and Cabochard might be taking the train straight back towards the fountain. Torre too tanky right now. Go on, Cabo, chase him down. Can't quite get there. Torre's going to survive on a sliver of HP. Same with Caedrel, and now Vitality don't really have the opportunity to go in. Milica trying to get onto Patrik, but he's so slippery on this Ezreal, just stealing away from the back of the fight too effectively, too often.
You know, Cabo should have built a Yo moves right there, and that would have been a kill.
Shockwave!
Oh,
that was a special
no,
one-ender. That was a special one right
horribly.
there. Wasn't quite able to connect. Kryze going to step forward into the river here. NG trying to get as much control as he can, but Patrik jumps forward once again. Kryze is on the chase. Patrik clearing out that control with Milica chased off by Special down towards the bottom side. Caedrel can start up this dragon. Cabo still 20 seconds away from respawning. Milica's going to try and heal himself back up as Caedrel gets the dragon. Infernal Soul now sits on them. The True Shot Barrage has been dodged. Comp doing what he can, but he doesn't really have too much mana on this Ashe. Torre stepping to the front line now. He doesn't have the gargoyles. One more order from that Ranger's Quiver will be enough. Gets him down, but Patrik jumps forward. That's the shutdown onto Comp. Milica jumped on by Special, but the hook comes out. Special still gets the shutdown. Labrov's going to fall as well. Chased out by Special. Kryze gets another, and XL find the fight they were looking for.
In a 5.5-year-long fight in that bot lane, River XL finally come out on top. I think they might just be able to end the game right here. Cabo's trying to hold on for his life. He's going to try and pull a Kryze running away from the action, but the difference is his team's base is going down this time.
That's like 40 seconds left on any respawn here. The only thing Cabo can hope is that he keeps the minions away, but I think XL are just going to tank up the Nexus towers. It was a back and forth game. Vitality fought tooth and nail to try and get back on into this one, but I think XL finally found the fight they were looking for. They find the ace at the end, and they will find their third win in the LEC.